My first show was actually sort of while I was still at uni because, as I said, I nearly kind of quit in the second year anyway and was starting to do things outside of university. I was quite frustrated with the idea of producing work, having a show, producing work, having a show. You know, it just felt like a really artificial way of working, which of course it is. And so I was actually producing anonymous work. I was getting quite radical at that point. So I was producing anonymous work and not in galleries. So one of the biggest first things I did in 1997, I think, was get in touch with Live Art magazine, who I wrote for occasionally then anyway, who were based in Nottingham, which is where I studied. And I persuaded them it would be a great idea to advertise a phone number and as kind of do it in their preview section of this new work. You know, to participate you have to phone this number, and it was a phone number for a public telephone box in the middle of Nottingham, and it wasn't recorded in any way. It was purely to try and get strangers to have a conversation without knowing why they were having a conversation. And so people would hopefully phone up the box. Anybody walking past may or may not answer, and the person phoning would be phoning with an expectation of participating in an artwork, so they'd be kind of open to what would happen. The person receiving is obviously quite an open person as well, because they've just answered the phone in a phone box. And so I was hoping that would really trigger something. And the fact that I didn't record it in any way or measure it in any way was really important, because I was, again, fighting against the role of the artist. Now, it was very important that what happened was between audience members and that I was just a catalyst for that. And followed it up the next month with an interview in the magazine so it did have a home, so it came full circle, so the ideas were discussed. And nothing happened from it. I mean, I think some people did phone it, because some people that I knew phoned it, and generally it rang out or it was engaged. I hope somebody somewhere had a kind of discussion from it. But it was really useful for me in that it hit all my ideals of what art should be at that time, my most radical. And also showed me how empty a way of working that was, and how unsatisfactory it was actually as an artist and kind of as an audience member, because it was kind of like a punchline. You know, it kind of didn't really go anywhere. You know, it was a nice experiment, but really, whose life did it enrich? You know, and so that was a very typical student piece of work. And I would say that was my first professional piece of work actually, although it came out of that student mindset. Because of locating it within the magazine and so on, it was quite an important step. But I did a few more things similar to that, producing carry bags and things for a while, and then kind of did more and more photography and kind of, thank goodness, discovered lens-based media and kind of started producing things. But I still, as I said, I still think that the production and involving people is still a really important part of my work. But it's really, it kind of creates a really useful focus for those people and for me to actually produce something as well. And so to kind of be in galleries, but also to have that kind of working parallel, I'm hopefully kind of finding the best of both worlds now.